Okay, I'm going to show you how to go in and make a tennis shoe in adult sizing. And I'm going to show you in the way that I can make it as versatile for your sole sizing, since you will need to go and watch my how to make a specialized sole for the adults. And what you'll need to keep in mind is your hat for an adult is the equivalent of your foot for an adult. And so we're going to be using the 60 peg half gauge Cindy wood loom to do this pattern. And what I'm going to be doing is going to be using Lions brand Hometown USA yarn, and I'm going to be starting off with a white, and we're going to be working from this white section up. So what we'll need is our white, and we're going to do a kind of what you would think is a strange cast on for what you're making. We're going to do a drawstring cast on circularly on this, and the reason being is you're not going to actually drawstring the whole thing together. You're going to drawstring it to the point where it fits on the mold you made. And so I only drawstrung mine until it fit to my mold, and then I sewed it together. And this makes sure that it fits no matter the sizing, pretty much. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to drawstring cast on all 60 pegs. So go ahead and do your weaving. And then you're going to toss every other loop over. Okay, now that we've done our drawstring cast on circularly, we're now going to go in and we're going to knit a row. And I'm flat knitting, and when you're flat knitting, you're going to take that bottom loop, toss it over the top, pull it into the center of the loom. And as you can see, that starts to loosen it. When you are working with it, do not pull your working yarn, just guide it. And I like to lay mine over the ring and pinky finger and just hold the loom and just guide it. I don't pull on the yarn at all. This will help you to keep from getting it too tight. Once you get the hang of it and keeping it loose, you will develop the speed of being able to knit flat faster. Okay, now we're going to purl a row in the white. So go ahead and purl the row all the way around. Okay, now we're going to tie on our black. We're not going to cut our white because we're going to be picking it up on the next row. So go ahead and tie on your black. And then you're going to purl a row of black. So you're going to go in and you're going to purl a row of black. Then you're going to purl, then you're going to pick your white back up and you're going to purl a row of white. And then you're going to knit a row. So go ahead and pause the video, purl a row of black, then take and pick up your white, purl a row of white, then knit a row of white. Let's go ahead and do that much, and then I'll show you the next section. Okay, we have purled a row of black, purled a row of white, and knitted a row of white after that. So this is kind of what it should look like on either side. And yes, it may look like it's 2 rows of black, but it's because of the way we're purling it is why it looks like 2 rows of black when it's actually only 1 row of black. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and snip my black because I don't need it anymore. I just needed it for the black strip for more accent than anything. And I'm just going to tie it off with my original strand of black. Do a couple of half knots. Okay, now I'm going to pick my white up and I'm going to knit over 28 pegs. Okay. Need to go in and count and make sure I got my 28 pegs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 27, 28. Okay, yeah, we're at 28. Now you're going to knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wrap and turn and knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wrap and turn, knit 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wrap and turn, knit 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wrap and turn and knit 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wrap and turn, knit 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wrap and turn and knit 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wrap and turn and knit 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wrap and turn and knit 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So wrap and turn. And knit 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, wrap and turn, knit 14, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You've now just completed the toe area that's white on the shoe. So we've just completed this area. And now we're going to knit our way back. So go ahead and knit your way back to your starting point, and then we're going to change to our blue color and start working on the main part of the shoe. So we'll have finished our base sole area. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to start kind of working flat at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to snip our white, add in our blue, and I'm trying to make this to where you don't hardly notice the attachment knot on the back. So I've just done a fisherman's knot. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to knit over to where my wrap and turn is, and I'm going to stop, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay. Now I'm going to knit my way back, turn and knit my way back, and then knit 23 on the other side and knit my way back, and then we're going to start the next section, which is where I'm going to show you the technique of how to add the lace holes while decreasing. Okay, now you're going to knit 23 on the other side. So here's 1, 2, 3. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops, I'm off one. There's one. 23. That's why you gotta make sure. At this point, this is going to be the side where we're starting, and this is going to be a row 1, row 2, row 3 kind of thing. So at this point, we're fixing to start something a little different. The back half is going to be a rib stitch, and the reason being, as you can see, it kind of swoops in. The reason being I wanted to do a rib stitch is so that it fit around the heel nicely, because if it were just a regular knit, it would want to come off the back of the heel. So the purpose of the rib stitch on the back is to make sure that when you wear it, it stays on the heel nice. So we're going to be basically working this half section here, this back half section, and you're going to need to put a marker starting from your original starting point. You need to count over 10 pegs on either side and put a marker. So go ahead and pause the video and do that, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I've placed a stitch marker on 10th peg over from here and the 10th peg over from here. And the reason why I did that is because we're going to be doing a rib stitch in that pattern. So what you're going to do is you're going to knit your way over to the first stitch marker. When you get to the stitch marker, you're going to purl and knit over to your midpoint. Now we're going to do something a little funky, and the reason being is we would end up, if we continued this pattern, we'd end up with a knit on our stitch marker, and I want it to be a purl. So I'm going to knit twice here. So I'm going to knit here, and that's going to be easy to remember because that's your original starting point. And then I'm going to purl knit the rest of the way over. And there's my purl. Now I'm going to knit my way over to the end. That's a rabbit drinking from a water bottle, if you're wondering what that sound is in the background. Okay. Now, just before the last peg, you're going to E-wrap chain 5 times. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to take that stitch, decrease it by moving to the next peg, toss the bottom loop over, take that stitch, move it on to the next peg, decrease again. Then you're going to knit your way over to your stitch marker. And then start your purl knit. Now what we've just done is created our first loop. You can see. So there's our first loop where a shoestring would go. So that's what we've just done. And you're going to be decreasing by 2 on each side. On like one side with every row. So go ahead and do the purl knit over to the other side. Remember, the 2 knits are together here at your starting point, which is not hard to know where to do that. Okay. Now you're going to knit to just before the end peg. Okay, you're going to take that last peg and you're going to E-wrap chain it 5 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pick that loop up, place it over the next peg, toss the bottom loop over, pick that loop up, move it over to the next peg, which is decrease, and now you're going to knit your way over. You're going to repeat this chaining and decreasing every row on the ends when you get there until you have decreased by 12. And what you should have is 6 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you should have 6 loops when you're done. I'm going to show you what I'm doing one more time, and then you're going to continue the process of when you get to the end, ear up, chain 5, move the loop over, toss the bottom loop over, move the loop over again, and knit the 2 together until you have 12 pegs that are empty. So I'm going to show you one more time, and then I'm going to let you run with it, and then I'll go from there. Remember to knit the 2 on the starting point. Which is also your mid-back heel. Okay, there's our last peg. You wrap chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take and move that loop over. Toss the bottom loop over. Move that loop over again. And knit those 2 together. And then go back the other direction. So knit till you get to your marker, then start your rib stitch again. So there's our marker, so we're going to start the rib stitch. So purl knit. Make sure you knit the 2 in the starting point. Knit your way over until just before the last peg. Okay, now we're going to take that last stitch. You wrap chain 5, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take that stitch, move it over to the next peg, toss the bottom loop over, take that, move it over to the next peg, and knit those 2 together. And you want to continue this until you have 12 empty pegs on each side. So go ahead and pause the video and complete this system of ear up, chain 5, move over, toss the bottom loop over, move over, and knit the 2 together. Knit to here, start your rib stitch, keep your rib stitch going until your next stitch marker, knit over till just before the last stitch, ear up, chain 5, move over, toss the bottom loop over, move over again, and decrease. Continue this until you have 12 empty pegs on each side, and that should be 6 actual loops. So we've completed 2. Let's go ahead and pause the video and complete that much, and then we will go from there. Okay, I have completed all 6 of my shoestring loops, and that pretty much gets you down to just before the last marker. And so you're now just going to cast off, and So what you want to do is you want to knit to bring the previous loop back, toss the bottom loop over, move over, knit the next peg, bring it back one, toss the bottom loop over, move over, knit the next peg in, bring it back, toss the bottom loop over, move it over one, knit the next peg in, bring it back, toss the bottom loop over. So go one peg in, knit it, put it on top of the last peg, stitch, toss the bottom loop over, move it to the next peg. You want to do that with all the stitches, and go ahead and cast all that off. And then the next section is going to be our tongue. Okay, there's our back section. Now we're going to work on our tongue. And I'm going to do a slip stitch to start working back and forth. So I put my shorter end and hold it in between my index and thumb. Drape the working yarn over my index finger. Push the index finger away from me. Then stick my thumb in the hole and pull the yarn through, and there is my slip stitch. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to knit a row, purl a row, knit a row, purl a row. And we're going to do that a number of times, and then you'll decrease down to a certain amount. So there's your knit. And then we're going to purl a row. Okay, and then we're going to knit. So every time you're going from left to right, you knit, right to left to right, knit, right to left, purl. And you're going to do that. So you're going to knit a row and purl a row for a total of 11 times, which will make for 22 rows. And then you're going to do a decrease, and you're just going to knit, decrease by every row until you're down to 5 pegs. So go ahead and pause the video and complete the 22 rows, and then I will go from there on showing you how to finish up the tongue. And then we are getting down to the point where we're going to be sewing our custom made sole onto the shoe. So go ahead and complete that much on your tongue, then I'll show you how to decrease, and then I will show you how to sew the custom made sole on. Okay, I've done my 22 rows. And I'm ready to decrease. So I'm going to take the outer loops and I'm going to move them in by 1 peg. And then I'm going to knit the row. Then I'm going to do that again. Take the outer loops and move them in by one peg and knit the row. And I'm going to decrease by one on each end again. And knit the row. Then decrease by one again on each end. And then you're going to knit the row and then you're going to cast off. This will get you down to 6 pegs. So now we're going to cast off. So we're going to knit the first two. Take the second loop, move it to the first peg, toss the bottom loop over, move that over. Knit the next peg in, take that loop, move it over, toss the bottom loop over. Okay, there's our tongue. So there we have our shoe. And what we're going to do is start figuring in how we need to be adjusting for our custom fit sole. And the great thing about the drawstring is that's where your adjustment is. If you have a larger sole, you're not going to drawstring it in as much. If you have a smaller sole, you'll need to drawstring it in more rather than less. And because your center back and everything lines up, I normally tie off the back end. But I'm going to turn this inside out real quick. Okay, and to keep up with what foot you've done, I know that I need to make sure, because there is my curve there, that I'm not doing it that side, but I'm going to do it this side. So I need to make sure that it's going to be done this way. Wait a second. Let's turn it right side out. This will help. So we're having to do it to sew it on the negative side. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over, and when the curves are facing away from each other, then you know this is going to be the side facing up. So your wrong side and wrong side are together, and I like to tie the ends together over here. Okay, so that because that's inside out and this is inside out, when you turn it right side out, it will be your other foot. That's how you're going to know which foot you're doing. You turn it inside out and you see what you've gotten that far, and then work from there. Okay, now here is where I go in and I gauge how it's going to be. So I know I want my toe area to line up, and my tip toe area is going to be a little off center over here. And so what I'm wanting to do is go in and go around and line up my sole. And this is where gauging how much you're going to need to draw string together or not. And it seems that I've drawstrung enough together I've already done a little bit of drawstringing, but it looks like I've done just the right amount. And the thing is you can drawstring a little bit more, but you can see that it kind of places in there nicely. And that'll also give you a nice little guide as to how it's going to fit. If you can kind of place it in there neatly like that, then you know you can sew it up. And that's kind of how you gauge to sew in the sole. But what you're going to do is and I used white to sew in my sole. I go in and I sew in, and what I like to do is find my spaces in between those notches, and then my spaces in between my original cast on notches there, and so on that way. And that keeps it fairly even sewn on. And so you do that, and then you flip it right side out, and then you're going to lace up the shoe with an extra. You can use actual shoestring if you want. I just use, because the Lions brand white is so thick, I used it as my shoestring. And then you just go in and you put it on the foot and you lace it up to the extent you need it, and lace it up, tie it off, and this is what you'll get: a shoe. Now feel free to add a more solid bottom to it so that you can walk around and know that you're not going to wear in the bottom, and that's easy enough. You just trace it out before you sew it up, and then once you've sewn it up, you can just either sew on the actual leather or whatever you choose to use, or you can glue it on. I find that hot gluing onto the yarn really is pretty solid, actually. So it's up to you whether you want to do that or not, but this is pretty much how you go about making the tennis shoe bootie. Now,